Welcome ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mangs and today I welcome you guys to a very special video. Today I'm going to show you guys how me and my friends cook and prepare a delicious Norwegian meal up in the cold, frosty mountains. We are going to be barbecuing some delicious marinated pork chops along with an amazing stew composed of onions, bell peppers and chili beans. There's no electricity up here, so that means we can't rely on a modern kitchen, but that doesn't stop us from making amazing food. This right here is the pitmaster. His name is Panzergraf, and he's mainly in charge of cooking on our trips. He has his own personal spicy marinade that gives the meat and stew an absolutely delicious flavor, and we're gonna be showing you the process right here on my channel. So sit back, crack open a beer or a Pepsi Max, and enjoy! Alright, so the first thing we do in the morning is to prepare the marinade. We do this early because we want the meat to lay in the marinade for at least a couple of hours to give it some time to absorb the flavor. The longer it lies in there, the better the meat will taste. So if you really want some juicy pork chops, you may even prepare it the evening before and let them soak in the marinade overnight. And that will make them so tender and juicy that you almost don't have to chew them. Now for this marinade, we are using some beer, some Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce, some Kentucky whiskey barbecue sauce, a dash of Stubbs spicy sauce, and lastly some red devil pepper sauce. Now this one's really hot, so be careful with it. For this recipe, we are using some boneless pork chops. This recipe isn't really limited to pork. You can just as easily use beef or even chicken. This marinade really goes well with any kind of meat, but pork chops is without a doubt the best fit for it. Now we don't really have any measures for this, as we kind of mix by taste and feel. You decide how much you want to use and how strong you want your marinade to be. You could also substitute some of the things we use, such as the beer, with your own favorite beer. At the end of the day, you can add lots of personal spins to your own barbecue sauce and figure out exactly how you want to make it. Just make sure you prepare lots of it, because we are going to be using the marinade later for the stew. Now, it's worth noting that at the time of filming this, we're actually preparing a second batch of marinade, so that's why the pot is used already. Aesthetically, it might look more pleasing if we do it with a fresh pot, but yeah, we didn't really have footage from that, so that's why. After you've mixed the marinade, it's time to put the chops in. Now make sure you get it in there good. You want to have enough marinade so that you can completely submerge your meat into it, just the way she likes it. Once you got them all in there, put the lid on and let it all soak in. As I said, you want to wait a minimum of at least 3 to 4 hours before putting these on the grill, and if you wait even longer than that, you're in for some very juicy pork chops. Now we have to wait a couple of hours before we start cooking. Me and Panzergraf prefers to play a match of Advance Wars outside in the snow, usually with a beer and a glass of wine. There's nothing like gaming outside in the lovely Norwegian winter weather, just make sure you dress properly, as sitting still can get rather frosty. That is, unless you play Olaf. And through the miracle of time, the marinade has done its work, and it's time to take the pot outside to the pitmaster. Now it's time to fire up the grill, and you can use any grill you like. This one is actually made by the pitmaster himself, using bricks from an old oven we had to throw away last year when the hut was getting fixed up. While we fire up the grill, we can start preparing the stew. So take the pork chops out of the pot and leave them on a plate, because we'll be needing the leftover marinade for something else. Now for the stew, we need some veggies. Inside the cabin in the kitchen, our friend Iggy is chopping up some onions, some paprika, and some chili. Now it's time to mix the stew together. In addition to the veggies, we use a mixture of tomato beans and chili beans, and we mix it together with the leftover marinade from the pork chops. Now I know that we're gonna have some food police in the thread talking about how it's dangerous to use marinade we previously had raw meat in, but we are going to cook this stew for a very long time on the grill, and this will kill any harmful bacteria the raw meat may have transferred over to it. We have been eating this dish for years up in the mountains, and no one has ever never gotten sick from it, so trust the pitmaster. This stuff is completely safe. In fact, thanks to the marinade being used with the pork chops, it will transfer a very meaty flavor over to it, making the beans and the stew taste absolutely amazing. Let the stew boil on the grill while you wait for it to heat up properly. You don't want to put the meat on the grill until it is at its hottest. After you light it up, this can take everywhere from 10 to 30 minutes depending on what kind of grill you use. If you use charcoal, it should be white and grayish in color before you start the grilling, and you don't want any flames licking the meat. While the stew simmers on the side, you want to put the pork chops on the grill. Once you're done, you want to start flipping them immediately. You want to char them quickly on each side to prevent them from sticking to the grill, and when they have a thin layer of crisp on both sides, you can leave them a little longer and let them cook through. If the fire gets too hot, you could consider doing some indirect grilling where you put them a little to the side of the charcoal to prevent them from getting completely burned. Here's a little something we started doing only recently, and this is of course completely optional. Now we take a wooden oak log and put it on the grill over the charcoal, and then we leave a lid over the meat, smoking it under indirect heat. This adds a nice smoky oaken flavor to the meat, which goes very well together with the spicy marinade. Don't be afraid to smoke the meat for a good 10 to 15 minutes to really let the flavor seep into the pork. Now, before the chops are ready, we're going to glaze them a bit by dipping them into the bubbling stew before they get 5 more minutes on the grill. This will ensure an extra layer of taste and makes the chops even juicier when served. And again, through the miracle of time, the meat and the stew is done, and it's time to eat! We serve up the stew and the meat with some potato salad. We've also grilled up a bell pepper on the side. This dish goes perfectly together with some beer, some red wine, or simply a good can of Pepsi Max. You better have prepared a lot of this because it's gonna get eaten up fast. It tastes good! Thank you for watching this special video of Norwegian mountain grilling with Panzergraf and Mangs. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a like and a comment if you did, it helps out the channel a lot. If you want to check out the channel of Panzergraf, the pitmaster, he does mostly Norwegian airsoft videos and some random videos of tanks and battleships and stuff like that, but do go and subscribe to him if you want. Let me know what you thought about this video and if you'll be trying this dish for yourself next time you're barbecuing. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Until next time, my name has been Mangs, and goodbye.